times because we're trying to figure out how we're going to go.
A travel headache for Mickey Smith and her husband in Nova Scotia for a wedding. They received this text from the airline they booked round trip with, saying their flight from Halifax to Toronto, where they'll connect to return to MSP, is canceled and can't be rebooked.
When we were in Cape Breton, we had turned on the news and heard about the strike, potential strike, and thought, oh no.
That strike, the reason for its cancellation. On Thursday, Air Canada started to cut weekend flights as the strike loomed, which ended up happening Saturday morning by nearly 10,000 flight attendants, represented by the Canadian Union of Public Employees. That's until the Canadian government stepped in, forcing them to go back to work.
The Canada Industrial Relations Board to order the parties to resume and continue their operations and duties.
Mark Fenton arrived to MSP from Toronto on Saturday.
So there was a picket line when you arrived at the airport?
All Air Canada flights departing and arriving from MSP on Saturday were operated by a regional partner. Those flight attendants are not.
What's MSP?
Of the strike, as they're represented by
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
But it's most travelers coming to and from Minnesota using the airline that say the layovers in Canada are what is messing up their plans.
I've actually booked another flight from here, from Minneapolis back to Heathrow, with the expectation that my Toronto flight's going to be cancelled.
Something that Smith did too, having to miss work early next week.
We have the concern about enough medication. Both of us take medication.
Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
Those flight attendants are asking to be paid for their work before and after a flight. Right now, they're only paid for takeoff to touchdown. We've reached out to Air Canada and the union for comment and haven't heard back yet. Today, a lively neighborhood became the scene of a deadly crime. St. Paul police responded to
Was it 10?
Is a long-term solution. This sounds great in theory. I'm afraid it's not going to work in practice because President Putin is not interested in a long peace agreement. He's actually more interested in so-called ceasefire that he would use to buy more time to reposition his military, to strengthen his military, and to continue his quest. We saw yesterday a Russian minister of Foreign Affairs who was wearing a shirt that emphasized the Soviet Union. It actually tells you all you need to know about Putin's ambition, which is actually to restore so-called Russian greatness. And in order to do so, he needs to buy time. So I'm actually not very optimistic about a long peace solution that is just a piece of paper. Words are cheap for the Kremlin. The only thing that Putin understands is facts and actions. And there are, I think, two things that we need to do. Number one is to make sure to target Russian center of gravity, which is economy and especially energy sector, and to stop their war machine. And the second thing is to help Ukraine with all the weapons that Kyiv needs to win this war also on the battlefield. So it's a very complex situation. I understand that a lot of people want to make this situation very simple, but it's not. And we really have to sometimes zoom out and to see the big picture to understand how Putin thinks. He is a former KGB